Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this week, for your key to the week, you have the Temperance card. Temperance was really active this month for the fourth week of, or for the sort of last week of the month, so to speak. And I found that really interesting. Because it was kind of like literally for the first three signs that I was reading for, it came up in the same position. So with that said, your Temperance card as your key to the week talks about alignment, but it also talks about the process of spiritual alchemy. What is it that you are phasing out of your life this week? What is it that you are choosing to release or to let go of? Where is it that you are condensing all of the knowledge and the information that you can from the experiences that you've had? This is about you really going through the process of purifying yourself from the inside out. For some of you, this will be a literal physical detox. For some of you, this will be throwing things out, old items, old paperwork. For others, this will be you going through the internal filing system, right? To really start to say to yourself, what are the thought patterns, the beliefs, the understandings, the ideas that are outdated and outmoded? How can I condense them so that I have the wisdom from the experience, but I can sort the wheat from the chaff and leave it be? It does feel this week like a lot of you are going through the process of some sort of spiritual healing by allowing yourself to clear out your internal and maybe even your external world in some way, shape or form, right? Now, the other thing is with the Temperance card, it can represent people that are on literally a healing journey, but I've also seen this represent doctors, nurses, people that work in the medical profession. So if you work in any of those, this could be a very powerful week for you for understanding not only why it is that you're here or what service you actually offer, but more importantly, how you can let go of some of the stuff that you collect throughout your life. Do you know what I mean? Whether this is on an internal level, spiritual, mental, emotional, even physical, you know? So this is something for you to pay attention to this week. For your actions and options this week, you have the World card. There is a change in status. This is about you going after something that you really feel drawn to. This is where you level up. Remember, the World card is always that moment where you step onto a new plateau. This is where you have, where the Fool has effectively traveled the whole major arcana, is now completely integrated with life and the universe. And what is the beauty of that? Well, that's the message of the two wands on the figure, is that this person has learnt to harness their own willpower and align it with the universal divine willpower. And by having those two, by walking through life with that understanding, you can manifest literally anything that you choose to. But how does this person get there? You've got to go through the whole process. And if Temperance is your key to the week, this is a week for you to really let go of whatever baggage no longer serves you. Whatever it is that has only served to hold you back in some way, shape or form, this is the week where you let it go. This is the week where you transcend whatever your personal history is in some way, shape or form. For your communications and conversations, you have the Tower card, right? So there's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. Now, you could be, for a lot of you this week, you could be conversing with a boss, with an authority figure of some sort. Why do I say that? Because the World card also represents Saturn, and so therefore can represent bosses, people in positions of power or authority, heads of companies, etc. You could have some sort of surprise correspondence this week with somebody that is in a position to either help you further your goals or your ends in some way, shape or form. This looks like some sort of news that comes in that may at first be a little bit of a challenge. It might be that you're kind of like, okay, well crap, shit, what do I do with this? Well, it's going to be up to you to figure it out. What do you want to do with it? Whenever the Tower card shows up, you're gaining a new perspective. You're gaining some sort of insight or clarity that you didn't have before. Because it comes off the back of that World card there, the message here for me is really clear. This is like you getting some sort of knowledge or information from a trusted or certainly an official source in some way, shape or form. What you do with that information is completely up to you. And I actually feel like in some ways this is going to see you going off in a different direction. Maybe you know, certainly when you're doing your whole temperance thing this week, you could come to a new understanding of, you know, the words that you're using. It could be as well, some of you are branching out into some sort of technology or deciding to utilize some sort of technology. If you are in the process, and I know a lot of Taurians are at the moment as well, if you're in the process of selling a house, you might get an offer that is under the asking price. However, let's look at this, right? So you might think, oh, you know, but I'm losing money. What if you know, what if you want a quick sale and you just want out? It might not be ideal, and this could force you to really prioritize. Do you actually just want to move, or is it, do you know what I mean? Like, or and vice versa. If you're buying a place, you know, you might have to stretch your budget. It might not be ideal, but then the question becomes, what is it that you value more? What is it that you need more? Are you more worried about the money that this is going to either cost you or take, or are you interested in actually getting in and being settled? My advice, just given with what we know is going on in the world and the way that things are coming up, I would say settle for the latter. You know, if you have to spend a bit more, or if you have to take a little bit of a cut, take it. Right, whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself in and settled. All right, and then for a lot of you, you could be doing something where you're working with technology or going in that direction, and it could really force you to sort of have to work on your toes. For your money and materials, you have the Knight of Pentacles. I'm going to start with your health with this one. When it comes to this card, I always say to people, be careful with your knees. Whenever the Knight of Pentacles comes up in relation to health or the physical body, I always think of your knees. So just be really careful with them this week. As actually, I was going to say, you know, that not that I see anything wrong, but the Tower is here. So thing that I really want a lot of you to look after this week, this is not a week for you. If you don't have to take the journey by car, don't take it. I'm not saying that you know anything cataclysmic is going to happen, but the Tower is there. So I'm just going to say this, you know, it might be that you're not completely focused on the road, or maybe the person behind you is not completely focused. It could just be a fender bender, as they say in the States, but it's just not worth risking it. If you don't have to make that long journey by car this week, don't make it. For your home looks good. It looks like you're actually working on completing a project of some sort. And I kind of feel like a lot of you might be thinking to yourselves, you know what, I didn't realize how much mental space this was taking to finish this. So it's kind of like you'll be glad to see the end of it, even though the result is amazing, you know, and there's a purpose behind it. I kind of feel like you're done with the mess or whatever it's taken to finish this project. It's kind of like there's a part of you that's like, okay, can we just be done with this now? You know, it looks like it's taken some time. And then for your finances, money looks good for you guys this week. I actually feel like you'll be seeing a boost to the finances with your Knight of Pentacles and the World card. Your money or the boost of finances could be coming from a boss or a benefactor of some sort. You know, for a select few of you as well, because we've got the Tower card and the Temperance card, this might be a secret inheritance. It could be something that comes completely, money that just comes to you completely out of the blue. Now, I very often say to people, don't just expect money to rain from the sky, because it rarely happens. I've never seen that. I mean, no, I lie. There's been a few times I've seen it in my cards, but it's rare. Right, so this is why I say to people, don't rely on that. However, this week, I don't know how big it's going to be. I'm going to be really honest with you. I can't see that, but I do see some sort of boost to the finances coming very quickly and very suddenly this week. This could be one of those weeks where money does literally just come in from nowhere, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, that's nice. For your love and relations, you have the Chariot card. I love this card because it's very successful. Now, look at this, because you've got it underneath the Tower. I will say this to you, for those of you that are partnered, And that's a double up energy as well, by the way. This week, if you can avoid taking a journey by car, especially, and what I'm getting from this is that it's a long distance journey, you know, the kind that takes like 4, 5, 6 hours to drive. If you can avoid that this week, please do. Yeah, but for those of you that are partnered, this looks absolutely wonderful. It looks like there's some good news coming in for either you or your partner, and some boost to one of your finances is going to be great for the collective pot. It also looks like the work that you guys have been doing is coming to a head. So for those of you that have been working on your marriage, it looks like this week you'll be having one final sort of tough conversation, and that's going to be the one that really sets everything on a new path for both of you, and this could be very exciting. For those of you that are single, interestingly enough, it looks like you could be meeting somebody in the process or the course of your work this week, or you could be meeting somebody while you're on your travels. I mean, if I'm honest with these cards, I would say if you can, go the public transport route, just because you'll get much more out of it, and the chances are you'll bump into somebody. But I feel like it will be on your travels. It's not going to be, well, I mean, it could be in your local area, but it would be somewhere that you had to get a bus to, or, you know, maybe you had to take a train to. It's not going to be somewhere in your like immediate vicinity, like you'll have to travel to meet this person, but the potential is definitely there. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.